To a gardener, this site is absolute gold dust. Why? Because it's space. Yes, we are going to need more plants, unfortunately. Let's get planning. A beautifully bright day in March today. Not warm, but definitely bright. And this area here is the subject of today's video. So as you can see, my borders aren't that huge, but in this space I'll still be able to achieve two of the main tropical planting principles. That's dense planting and layered planting. Now the great thing about tropical planting is that those principles can be achieved both in a border like mine and in pots depending on your space. Make it work for you. There are no rules. Let your creativity be your ceiling. So the first thing I want to consider is the tall, hardy structural plants, those that will grow up into a canopy above my head. A popular choice is the Trachycarpus fortunei, one of the palms that's suited most to the UK as it's winter hardy down to -12. I have a couple of these. I also have in that patch already a Dicksonia antarctica tree fern. These are known for their lovely and large evergreen fronds, generally hardy down to -5, only needing a little protection in the winter. Now another tall plant I already have in that area is the Tetrapanax rex. This is a magnificent plant. It's the daddy, growing ginormous leaves and standing proudly in its spot. Now it is deciduous in the UK, but once it gets going in the spring there is no stopping it. And no tropical garden is complete without the good old Musa basjoo, a hardy banana tree and one of my favourites. When it stands in all its splendour, it's unrivalled, fast growing, pushing new large luscious leaves out pretty much every fortnight. It does well with some winter protection, but it's root hardy and will shoot from the base each and every year. So the last tall and hardy structural plant that I want to add is a Fargesia bamboo. Now this is a reliable and evergreen clumping upright variety. This year my project is to get bamboo growing in front of my fences for privacy. You can substitute bamboo for tall ornamental grasses if that's your preference. So let's get an idea of how these plants will look in this space in their maturity. Yeah, happy with that I'd say. So next I'll be thinking about adding a little colour. There are so many varieties of plants and I'm just going to go for the ones that appeal to me. I'd like some perennials, those that are going to come back each year, and ideally plants that I don't need to dig up in the winter. So in this patch I'd like to grow some canna lilies. They're vibrant, they're boasty, and they are perfect in a tropical setting. There are so many varieties of them though, so I'll probably go for the most hardy that works in my garden. I'd also like some Nephophia or red hot pokers in this area. Now these are fully hardy and I just love the upright spikes of colour on them. They're long lasting and I've already got some planted on the other side of the garden, so I can simply split and replant those in order to keep costs down. I'd also like to grow some Impatiens this year. Now I know that they're usually more annuals in the UK, but I grew them last year and they flowered from spring right through to late autumn without the need for deadheading as well. So they're reliable and you get bang for your buck. All being well, I'd also like to plant some hardy dahlias. They come in many different cultivars, you're pretty much sport for choice. I'd just like to find the hardiest type again, something that I don't need to dig up in the winter. So with the addition of tropical colour, I can see the border starting to take shape. Last but not least, we need some foliage fillers. Now in tropical settings, it's all about different shapes, sizes, textures, shades, all packed closer together, almost competing for space if you like. So, following this pattern, the foliage that I'd like to incorporate include phormiums for their sharp, spiky leaves. Now, I'd really like this pink jester variety. It's another way to get colour into the garden. Low-lying evergreen ferns. Now, every tropical garden can't get enough of these reliable beauties. You've then got hostas, the shade-loving perennials. They look great at the front of the border. Lots of different species to choose from with varying leaf shades. Slugs do love them as well though, so that's something to look out for. Something that I planted last year, Persicaria Red Dragon. Now it was a welcome addition, but a busy little fella it was. It grew huge and spread, but I do like the chevron shaped pattern and the deep purple looks great against all the green. Finally, Colocasia. Now these need a video all to themselves. Nothing says tropical plant like large leaves, and colocasias boast some of the best. So I've ordered a few different cultivars from Farmer Gracie. I'll share these with you when they arrive. So once they're in place, my little patch will be complete and bursting with different textures, colours, shades and heights, which is exactly what I'm looking for. Now I have something to aim towards. I needn't buy every plant I see at the garden centre. I aim to buy small as well in order to keep costs down. I hope that you've enjoyed this video and that you've got some inspiration for your own gardens. See you next time.